Hey, hey, hey. What's up, everybody? That's right. Friday live Q&A. And as it goes, the world of Jon Jones once again creeps into the news. Now, some of you might have been waiting for our live stream, and unfortunately, that live stream was canceled due to how many are watching right now? It's a little confusing. That was there we go. What's up, Seth? That was canceled because we have a VPN, which is a security system on our hardware, and the VPN actually shut down the stream. So we were able to counteract that. And it's nice to see everybody is back on. So we want to talk today about none other than the UFC reigning light heavyweight champion, Mr. Jon Jones. And news has come out that Jon Jones has tested positive once again for the M3 steroid metabolite. And he tested positive 2 out of 5 times since his last fight in December in California, and this was to get sanctioned for his March 2nd fight against Anthony Smith, which is tomorrow. Weigh-ins are today. Now, I'm going to read you a little bit of Steve Morocco's piece from MMA Junkie, and then I'm going to play an interview with Jon Jones from this morning actually talking about this. So, on Thursday, the Nevada State Athletic Commission released the results of 6 drug tests conducted as a part of a program tailored for Jon Jones after the M3 steroid metabolite caused a series of positive and negative tests. The Nevada State Athletic Commission declined to license Jones for his fight in December, but allowed him to face Smith on the condition that he be rigorously tested in the buildup for this pay-per-view event in Las Vegas. As the Nevada State Athletic Commission's latest findings show, Jon Jones still is not out of the woods with the M3 metabolite. He returned adverse results in 2 of 5 tests available with 40 picograms per milliliter or less in his system. And then it goes on to give what Jones's take is, and I'm going to play that here for you guys in a minute. Now, what the problem is, as you know, you probably understand, Jon Jones recently tested positive, or a year or 2 ago now, 2 years back, tested positive for the steroid turinabol in his system, which has a very powerful performance-enhancing effect. Turinabol is an oral steroid, primarily an oral steroid, although there's so many different compounds that are currently available. It's hard to say exactly what the delivery system is. Regardless, Jones had tested positive for the turinabol. He was suspended for that positive test, and he was suspended for 15 months. Now, this was his second infraction. I believe he had tested positive previously for Clomid. I believe it was Clomid and something else, which, as I understand, are anti-estrogens usually taken by someone who is playing in the performance-enhancing drug game. Now, those drugs that Jones tested positive for the first time, they were banned as performance-enhancing drugs. So he received a suspension from that. He served out a suspension. He came back. He started fighting again, and boom, he tests positive a second time, or a second drug bust, if you will, for turinabol, to which Jones and Camp said, hey, we had nothing to do with this. This was a tainted supplement, the age-old tainted supplement excuse. And I've been on record for years saying that the tainted supplement excuse is BS. These athletes know, their teams know, everybody knows what the approved supplement list is, and WADA has those linked on their website. That's silly. So Jones goes forward. He gets his positive test for turinabol. He gets his 15-month suspension, which was vastly reduced due to USADA claiming that they felt Jon was telling the truth, and they felt that it was an unintentional use. Though they couldn't find it, they couldn't prove it, and they tested all the supplements Jon had said. They couldn't find any that actually had traces of turinabol in it. They still felt that Jon was telling the truth, and they further gave Jon a reduced punishment as far as time suspended, because they felt he was telling the truth, which is kind of odd, though no facts would support that other than Jon's testimony. And the second piece being the possibility of Jon sharing additional information to help USADA. What that information is, who knows? That could be very, speculative on how deep that rabbit hole goes, but we won't go down that. So Jones is sitting there with 2 different drug busts. Now Jon comes back. He has to fight Alexander Gustafsson in December of 2018. Lo and behold, boom, Jon tests positive for this M3 metabolite of the turinabol. And Jeff Nowitzki from the UFC and different elements of USADA and other athletic commissions, and Andy Foster of California State, they all come back and they say, yeah, Jon does have performance-enhancing drugs in his system. But the science is so crazy. Nobody even understands the science. But at the same time, they're going to allege that there's not enough in Jon's system to show that there was a performance-enhancing effect. Therefore, they're going to let Jon compete. That's odd. That's odd because all from Nowitzki on up and down, they all say, hey, even the smartest scientists don't understand this. But at the same time, they say there's not enough, that these same people who don't understand why it's in his system are also saying there's not enough of it in his system to have a performance-enhancing effect, though it has been showing up in his body possibly for 2 years now, because his initial drug test, and that would be based upon an ingestion, intentional or not, was nearly 2 years ago. And here we are 2 years later, and it's still showing up in his body. Well, that sounds pretty dang powerful to me, right? That sounds pretty dang powerful. And I'll tell you this much, it didn't show up in Alexander Gustafsson's drug test results. It didn't show up in Anthony Smith's drug test results. It hasn't shown up in anyone else's drug test results, but it's still in Jon's. Now, I have to tell you, I'm a fan of Jon Jones. I think Jon Jones is the greatest fighter on the planet. I think Jon Jones beats Brock Lesnar. I think Jon Jones already has beaten DC twice. DC's the champ, 205 and heavyweight champ. Jon's beat him twice and made it look pretty easy. Jon's beaten absolutely everyone. Beaten everyone. It's hard to say he's not the champ. And I would guarantee you that Jon has fought multiple opponents who are also on performance-enhancing drugs, busted or not. I don't know. I don't really care. And I'm not getting into that conversation. Jon Jones walks into the room. Jon Jones is whipping everyone's ass in that room. That's the greatest fighter on the planet. Jon Jones walks into the room. He whips everyone's ass in that room. Who's the GOAT? Jon Jones walks in the room in GSP, Jon wins. Jon walks in the room with DC, Jon wins. Jon walks in the room with Robert Whittaker, Jon wins. Jon walks in the room with Brock Lesnar, Jon wins. Anyone up and down the UFC roster or any roster, Jon wins. Right? Jon wins. Jon's the greatest fighter on the planet. It doesn't mean he doesn't have that asterisk next to his name, though, for having these performance-enhancing issues. And that's something that has to be said. And that will plague his career. I don't think it doesn't really plague his career because nobody cares. Jon Jones is a multi-millionaire. He's a decamillionaire worth tens of millions of dollars for sure. You think Jon Jones cares? I don't think he cares. I don't think his family cares. I don't think his management cares. I don't think his coaching system cares. I don't think the UFC cares. And I will tell you this much. I don't think the fans actually care. I don't think the fans care enough to not watch Jon fight. I don't think they care enough to not be a fan of Jon. They don't care because most MMA fans, I believe most MMA fighters are on drugs anyway. I believe most sports fans believe their favorite sports heroes are on drugs anywhere. Remember Peyton Manning? Good old Mr. Buick, Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. Growth hormone. Remember the whole growth hormone case? Is it Justin Edelman from the NFL? Let me see that. Justin Edelman began the season with a PED suspension, right? Justin Edelman, NFL 2019 Super Bowl champion and MVP. Let's just kind of read this real quick because this actually supports what I was just saying. Justin Edelman, and this comes from the Washington Post, began the season with a PED suspension and ended the season as the Super Bowl MVP. Here's more than hours before, blah, blah, blah. Help. I'm trying to see what he catches. This doesn't. Drug suspension largely. If not, I'm trying to see what the drug was for. The NFL suspended Edelman the first 4 games of the season for using a performance-enhancing substance. Edelman, who was rehabbing from knee surgery last year after tearing his ACL, admitted to the offense, telling reporters during training camp, "I'm definitely accountable for that." What doesn't say what drug? This is terrible. Washington Post, terrible. Doesn't say what this stupid drug was. Therefore, but regardless, Edelman busted with steroids, PEDs, allowed to play, MVP, ticker tape, big parade and all the accolades that go with that. A Superman. Nobody cares. NFL fans don't care. New Hampshire fans don't care. Patriots fans don't care. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. So let me talk to you guys a little bit. Actually, let me play what John had to say here as he was talking to, I believe, John Morgan of MMA Junkie. Take a listen.
This morning we did finally see the pre-fight drug test results. The picograms were there. Yeah. I guess at this point it's expected, but I wonder, is there a part of you that when those come out, you're just like, damn it, I wish these had nothing in them?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time it's like an oh darn it moment, but I'm comfortable with the idea that it's going to be a part of my career, and I don't know how long this is going to last. What makes me sleep good at night is knowing that I've submitted myself to every drug test. I am getting tested by 3 of the most powerful agencies in the world. I've never avoided a test.
Let me stop that right there. John says it makes him happy that he's getting drug tested by 3 of the most powerful drug testing agencies in the world. But he failed those drug tests. He failed 2 out of 5 of those drug tests, to be clear. And remember, I'm a Jon Jones fan here. I'm not a hater. I'm not hating on Jon. I'm a fan, but I can't get my head around this. And I'm not actually even mad at Jon Jones right now. I'm mad at the commission. I'm mad at USADA, and I'm mad at the sport as a whole. That's what I'm mad at right now, because Jon Jones is being allowed to fight, and you will buy the pay-per-view. You're going to buy the pay-per-view. You're going to watch the fight. ESPN is going to play it, and you're going to go along with it. But the man has drug metabolites, performance-enhancing drug metabolites in his system right now, and his opponent does not. How is that allowed? If Anthony Smith right now were to pop hot for the exact same M3 metabolites, 40 picograms per milliliter in his system, Anthony Smith would be suspended by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He would be suspended by USADA. He would likely receive a 2-year suspension for that. If any athlete on the UFC roster were to piss hot with 40 micrograms or 40 picograms per milliliter of an M3 metabolite, they would immediately be suspended pending a administrative hearing. Immediately. Busted. Guilty. Why is Jon allowed? Because it was in his system 2 years ago and he already served a 15-month sentence. Therefore, he can have it in his system continuously. That doesn't make sense. And if the scientists don't understand how this works, and I've spoken with scientists that I'll get on record here soon. If these, and it's funny because all the scientists I've spoken to, not one has said, oh yeah, that pulsing makes sense. They all say that's bullshit. Actually, I'm cursing again. Bullshit. That's bullshit. March 1st, the cursing is back. Motherfuckers. That's right. The PC Dolce is gone. 2 months of PC Dolce. Now it's time for full-on Dolce. But anyway, he's happy that he subjected himself, and kudos to Jon for doing that to 3 of these agencies, these 3 most powerful agencies on the planet. But he failed the drug test. He failed 2 out of 5, and they haven't released the 6th one. He had 6 drug tests. They've only released the results of 5 so far, which is interesting. Let's finish what Jon has to say. Now, Jon is very eloquent. Jon's a great speaker. Jon does a great job, I think, in really deferring any blame off of him. That's shrewd. I wonder if he's had any training, any public relations training. I bet he has.
I feel like the more I am accessible, the more data they'll understand they'll have in the situation, and the more everybody will understand. You know, I'm figuring out that, you know, there's baseball players in Major League Baseball that has the same exact supplement inside of them that are posting as well. I just found out there's another UFC fighter that has the same exact situation, and between the Major League Baseball and the UFC, I think they're coming to the conclusion that these drug testing agencies are too powerful, and they're detecting things that don't help athletes at all, and therefore they're allowing athletes to continue to compete. So I know that I'm almost the leader in this whole development, and I'm comfortable in this space. I just wish fans would not just look at the headlines and actually clicked on the links and read and learned what was really going on. But I've set myself free from any level of embarrassment. I have no shame. I've said many times that I've never knowingly done anything to do any type of sports enhancing, drugs or whatnot. So now I'm just here getting back to what's most important, and that's my 13th world title, making the fans happy, and trying to defeat a really promising young fighter.
The terminology, the title offense, not defense.
Yeah, we call it.
There you go. And then whoever the reporters were, he's actually in a media scrum right here. And the reporters, they just let him go with that. So what Jon is saying here is basically he's absolved himself of any wrongdoing. He claims that he did nothing intentionally. It was all unintentional ingestion. How he unintentionally ingested so many illegal banned pharmaceuticals over the last 4 or 5 years in his career. Lord knows how an athlete at that level, with all the insulation that he has and all the layers of managements and agents and coaches and professionals around him, how so many illegal agents get into his body unintentionally is insane. I would assume that he should be firing a whole litany of individuals. But obviously that's not happening. And Jon wishes that everyone would be reading the article, not just the titles. Well, I'm reading the article, and the article said that 2 out of 5 of his drug tests showed positive. I'm a fan. I'm supporting Jon Jones as a fan, right? I like to see the dude fight. Once again, greatest fighter in the planet. Jon Jones walks in the room. Jon Jones is the only dude who's walking out. So test positive again, keeps testing positive. And now I'm going to end it on this. I'm going to start answering your questions. What about every other athlete on the roster? What about the athlete that gets a 1 or 2 year suspension for THC? Nick Diaz initially got a 5-year suspension for smoking weed, which was reduced to 2 years. Anderson Silva got a 1-year suspension for taking steroids. How ridiculous is that? While Tom Lawler got a 2-year suspension for taking Osterine, which is a worthless SARM. Right? It's not even as powerful as creatine. Lyoto Machida got a 2-year suspension for taking 7-keto DHEA, which is a healthy a cofactor to testosterone production that you can buy in Whole Foods that you should likely be taking with blood work. And anyone can walk right into a Whole Foods or go on Amazon and you can order a 7-keto DHEA product. And all of the science shows that a DHEA product such as the one Machida ingested is no more powerful than a vitamin D3. It's about the same physiological results as taking vitamin D3. Machida got a 2-year suspension, and he disclosed it. How about that? Jon Jones gets a 15-month suspension for taking oral turinabol as a 2-time drug offender. 15-month suspension. Lyoto Machida gets a 2-year suspension, first-time offender, for taking an over-the-counter supplement, 7-keto DHEA. Look it up. Some of you are probably taking it right now if you're 35 or older. That with a little bit of pregnenolone can help with healthy testosterone, total testosterone ratios. So anyway, here I go. Let's answer some of your questions. Guys and gals, I appreciate you all being here. If you wouldn't mind, just throw us a quick thumbs up. I appreciate the thumbs up. We're trying to make this channel grow, help the channel grow, and you guys are the only ones that actually can help make this channel grow. So I appreciate you being here. So Cal Seth, what's up? Howard McMillan, yo. Seth, it's hard out here for a picogram. Ain't that the truth? Michael Reutman, microdosing. Very possible. That's what a lot of people say. Actually, I'm going to try and get Victor Conti on the show. Victor Conti and I, we used to go back and forth quite a bit, talking smack about each other. I feel I'm justified in my critique of Victor Conti. But at this time, I think it'd be nice to get Victor on the show. I'm going to reach out to him. Matthew Armstead. What's up, Matthew? Lace Vidas. Sup, man? Good to see you. Frank Del Val, your show with Luke Thomas was great. I appreciate that. If you guys haven't, go and listen to the Mike Dolce Show podcast with Luke Thomas of Sirius XM of the MMA Hour on MMA Fighting. We spent 2 hours talking about drug testing and drug suspension. It was just very appropriate to have this conversation. We released that yesterday on my podcast, audio podcast, the Mike Dolce Show, also on Luke Thomas's YouTube channel. He's got a great YouTube channel, very, very robust YouTube channel. So it was a video audio interview that we both released on both of our channels. Mehmed, coach, do you think someone should shut Colby's mouth? I think someone should try, but I haven't seen anyone been able to do it yet, right? Colby's a badass. People talk smack about Colby Covington. Colby Covington's a badass, guys and gals. Colby Covington is the true #1 contender. He won that interim title. He deserves to be fighting Tyron Woodley for the welterweight world championship. And it's a shame that he didn't get that. It's all BS in politics, which goes right back to this Jon Jones issue. There's a lot of backdoor or back channeling that go on in this game. Dante, let's just pretend it's pulsing and stop asking questions, right? Mehmed, the question is, why are those pictograms more than before, right? Seth says Jon Jones is the Charlie Sheen of MMA. Sean, you have a live scheduled version. People are waiting for you. I know, that sucks. And I can't do anything about that right now, unfortunately. It was because we have that VPN. The VPN actually shut down the stream. So it looks like everyone has migrated over, thankfully, to this stream, which is a good thing. I appreciate that, Sean Newbley. Dr. Octagon, clickbait. You're clickbait. You're not a real doctor. Crazy Horse, Smith for the win. We'll see what happens. I actually had Mark Montoya, Anthony Smith's head MMA coach, on the podcast on our YouTube channel. And he knows how they're going to beat Jon Jones. And he actually discusses that with me. So go back and look a week or two ago and listen to my interview with Mark Montoya, Anthony Smith's head coach. Spencer Thomas, silly question, but if a fighter tells you he is on PEDs, do you change their diet to enhance it? We change their diet to get them off it. When any athlete works with us, they have to actually sign. We go into a contract that they cannot take any performance enhancing drugs. In fact, they can't take any drugs. They can't take any supplements without them clearing it through us. Otherwise, that renders our contract null and void, and they have to pay us in full. They cannot ingest anything without clearing it through myself or my team. And my team then contacts Jeff Nowitzki and Donna Marcolini at the UFC, and we go directly to USADA to ensure that those supplements are valid, are legal. Even when there's supplements that let's say we use supplements, True Athlete has a ZMA product that is NSF certified for sport. This week, if we're going to have that athlete, a new athlete, take True Athlete's NSF certified for sport VMA product, we contact the UFC just to make sure that no funny business has happened since. And we record that. And then we have that text message. It's all done electronically. It's all text message and emails. We have that. So we say on this date, today, at this time, UFC representative says, yes, that we can take that. And we move forward. That's the way it's done. Seth, my bloodhound nose is sniffing away. Spencer Thomas, could PEDs affect the weight cut? Could it make it more dangerous with added stress to the heart? It could, but it depends on the exact type of PED. Some PEDs will actually make the weight cut much easier. Sean, why not just let fighters get yoked on steroids and fight? That's actually what Luke Thomas and I discussed. What I said, here's my stance. I'm black and white. If you want to have drug testing protocols in place, then if an athlete tests positive for performance-enhancing drugs, they should be banned for life. First time, lifetime ban, done deal. If you're not willing, if the organization, the commission, and the promoters are not willing to facilitate a lifetime ban for a first-time offender, well, then they should just wipe it away. Because the gray area is the bullshit. The gray area allows, and this is why, the gray area allows Jon Jones to compete with performance-enhancing drugs in his system right now when Anthony Smith does not have that opportunity, does not have that ability. And some people will say, oh, well, that's not enough to have a performance-enhancing effect. How do you know that? You don't know that. All the top scientists don't know that. They surmise that, they hypothesize that, they guess that, they say that, but they don't know that. They don't know that. And if that were the case, I'm sure Anthony Smith and Alexander Gustafsson and Daniel Cormier would say, well, shoot, I'll take 40 picograms per milliliter of M3 metabolite in my body too. Why not? I mean, it may or may not work, but John's got it. Why not even the playing field, right? It's all, you see how BS that is, right? You see how BS that is. Ready, set, show. LO, John Jones is a cheater and a joke, and definitely no. John Jones is the GOAT. Remember, John Jones walks into the room, he whips your ass. He whips everybody's. That's the greatest of all time, fighter-wise. I'm not saying the greatest human or humanitarian. I'm not saying the most ethical. We're talking about an athlete here. John Jones, fighter. John Jones walks in the room with the whole UFC roster. He whips their asses, and John Jones walks out. That's the greatest of all time. Now, you can philosophically debate me upon morals and whatever. No one's listening to you anyway. The greatest fighter on the planet means the guy who walks in the room and then walks out with scalps in his hand. That's the greatest fighter on the planet. Adderall. So did he really test positive again? Absolutely he did. He tested positive 2 out of 5 times. Grand Swing, GSP, ducked Woodley, and Silva. You could say that. Maybe he just wasn't getting paid enough. It wasn't worth his time and money. GSP is already a multi-deca millionaire. Estimated net worth of GSP is somewhere over $30 million. Right? You want GSP to fight? Well, you better pony up some cash. GSP's not getting in there for $3, $4, $5 million. GSP needs a lot more money than that. Seth, doesn't USADA rule say if you fail a test, regardless of the substance effectiveness, you're to be punished? That's the way I read it. Nope. Mehmed, any online seminars? Yep, you'll hear more about that later. Adderall, all checking it out. Ready, set, show. John Jones has money and has a lot of wins in the UFC. And at the end of the day, he cheated to get it all. MMA fans are the casual that let that stuff go. Real fans know the truth. So I ask you, ready, set, show. Are you going to buy the pay-per-view? Are you going to watch the fight? Because if you watch the fight, you're supporting a cheater. You're putting money in his pocket, right? Because he gets pay-per-view points. Are you? Angela, what's the point of having fighters tested or having rules such as drug tests if they let John fight again? That's a great point. Anyone who is tested positive in any sports enhancement drug should be fined and suspended. I agree. Seth, on the plus side, it's nice to see John Jones having a positive reaction to so much negativity. I agree that also. I agree with that also. That's what I said. He's very charismatic. It's hard to not like John Jones. If John Jones would be one of, I think, John Jones would eclipse Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Ronda Rousey, who I love, would eclipse every one of these athletes in his star power if he could simply get his personal life in order. But maybe that's not John's goal, and that's not for me to say. Tell the man how to live his life. Julian Edelman, you can see how much I actually watch sports, right? How much I watch football. And I didn't even know this till Luke Thomas told me. I didn't know that. I didn't even know who was playing in the Super Bowl. Spencer. Oh, man, it just swung by. A lot of questions here. I'm sorry. Can Anthony Smith sue and get a boatload of cash? Does him coming out and saying he thinks John is clean? Nope, because Mark Hunt tried that and had even better circumstances. Kelvin Gastelum has a UFC-sponsored nutritionist. Why is that okay? Because every athlete in the UFC has that access. UFC partnered with Trifecta. Trifecta now opens up their culinary services to the UFC athletes. So the UFC and the UFC PI, in conjunction with Trifecta, now offer registered dietitians under the management of the UFC Performance Institute, as carried out by Trifecta, third-party agency, to provide meals for the athletes. Every athlete on the UFC roster has that ability. How shady is this? Edelman's test baffle. Isn't that crazy? Spencer, I love non-PC Dolce. Fuck yeah. I did the PC. I did 2 months. I proved it. I had 19 curses in January when I was easing into it. That was like in the first few days. February, not a single slip up, not a single bad word. And you know what? I became a lesser version of myself. Now, that doesn't mean I'll go back to just the gratuitous F-bombs, 4 F-bombs in every sentence. No, I won't do that. But certain things need an exclamation point. Certain sentences and certain types of conversation need very colorful wording. And I am not limiting myself now to only specific words in the English vocabulary. I am actually opening the entire palette of robust words that I can use to describe my feelings and emotions and opinions. So there will be curse words back in more what I have to say. Millie, what do you think about juicing celery, carrots, and vegetables and fruit like about 5 or 10 pounds a day? 5 or 10 pounds? Well, I don't know about the total intake, but I know those are all great. Edelman's test confuses scientists. New York Post, I bet, because Edelman probably has access to really good doctors. Todd Welch, no more Dolce Light. Exactly, Todd. Q-tip, what are your thoughts on Colby Covington confronting Dana White while he was gambling? That takes balls, man. Takes balls to go out there and walk up to the boss man with your camera on his face while boss man is gambling. Ooh, that takes balls. Seth, this is why I use the Dolce diet. The only thing I piss is excellence. That's what's up. Weird how Jones, Spencer says, weird how Jones starts to pulse when a fight is coming up or when camp is starting. Isn't that interesting? I didn't think of that. Todd, Jones is very good at shifting blame and responsibility. I think he's had PC training or PR training. Caleb, yo, Mike at 197 from 199, mainly worked on my diet. Now going to throw in the gym again. Heck yeah. Grand Swing, Dolce is good at pointing fingers and calling for people's jobs. I'm not calling for anyone's jobs. I'm not calling for anyone's job, troll. What am I saying? I'm talking about the real issue. The man failed 2 out of 5 drug tests, and he's competing against a clean athlete for millions of dollars. What the fuck are you talking about, troll? Why don't you try and come out with a real point and talk about pointing fingers? You know, when you point a finger, 4 are pointing back at you. How about that, Grand Swing dork? Seth, speaking of the cursing, I met Alan Roberts this past week. A really nice guy. I've heard Alan is really a great guy. James Morrison, I think in 10 years, the curtain will go back and we will find out he's been using some next level gear. Very possible. Adam Alexander, do you ever put your protein powder in the breakfast bowl? No, I don't like that. I'll have the protein powder and then I'll eat the breakfast bowl. Mehmed, coach, as Max is going to lightweight, do you think TJ is going up to? That's a bit, yeah, TJ's too small. I think TJ is a perfect size 35-pounder. He's too big to make 25 safely, as we saw. I believe TJ's weight cut is responsible for his knockout, and he's too small to go up to 45. Those guys at 45, they're coming down from 190. They're big. They're too big. Mike, Laviola, I think the reason their suspension was longer is because they didn't appeal it. That's what Jeff said. Womp, womp, womp. I don't agree that at all. That's BS. Omar, Cron Gracie is the ultimate pothead. I wonder how long he's going to last before he gets suspended for THC. Well, out of competition THC, as I understand, is still allowed, but he's got to be careful. Spencer, USADA should hire you to go over all the chemicals. They'd fire me day one because I'd be like, what the fuck? What the fuck, guys? What the fuck? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's all bullshit. If they actually only operated based upon the numbers and the rule of the law, there wouldn't be any conflict. There wouldn't be any problem, but they don't do that. That's where the back channeling comes in. And I will always point to Floyd Mayweather's retroactive therapeutic use exemption for getting caught taking intravenous fluids after his weigh-in against Manny Pacquiao. He was caught, did not disclose it. He was caught being administered intravenous fluids, completely banned by USADA, completely banned. He was taking it and busted. And USADA offered him a therapeutic use exemption, saying, yeah, it's okay. He can do that. Bull. Todd Welch, there are differences in banned substances between professional athletic leagues? Yes, depending on which organization they're actually using. Most organizations will point to the WADA list, but there's certainly discrepancies in what they actually test for. Some will say, oh, this is banned on the WADA list, but they'll only test for a few things, or they'll only do urine tests, which can't nearly go back as far in time or get the sensitivity that a blood test can. Jay Perez, this at least proves that Jones did, in fact, at some point take steroids, doesn't it? Well, I don't think John didn't dispute that. John disputes that it was intentional. He said it was unintentional, which is crazy. Michael Reutman says, great podcast with Luke Thomas. I loved it. Awesome. So I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you. And everyone should listen to the Mike Dolce Show podcast where I speak with Luke Thomas about drug testing, and we go down deep. Mike, what do you recommend for post-weigh-in meals? I'll get to that one later. Let's keep this on to the this whole John Jones drug testing. Let me not jump off the topic. hydration is the most important. Post weigh-in hydration, we back out the same way that we pull in. Fluids are the most important thing. Electrolytes and fluids are the most important thing. From there, we start to drip in simple sugars. We don't do the crappy powdered sugar, artificial synthetic chemical thing like the other tools out there do. We go to real foods, step one, day one. Only real foods is part of the rehydration process. Only real foods. That's it. So we start with fluids, we start with water, we start with purified water, and we add natural electrolytes. We add sea salt, we add raw honey, we add fresh squeezed lemon. Slowly but surely, we start adding fresh fruits, grapes and berries and melons. Slowly but surely, we start to refill the athlete. Then we'll switch into maybe like a rice cake or a white rice, and slowly, we fill the athlete out. Our athletes can fight within 3 hours of weighing it. Period. The end. They know that, they show that, they prove it. And you look at the blood work or the medical tests of our athletes compared to all the other athletes. When our athletes show up to the medical test at their very worst, complete dehydrated state before they step on the scale, they look amazing. Their heart rate is typically in the low 60s. And this is in a relatively stressed out state, low 60s. Their blood pressure is absolutely perfect, 120/70. On average, absolutely perfect blood pressure. These other athletes, they're pumping sludge through their veins. Hey, Mike, can you tell us a good exercise to build big, strong forearms? Well, my good friend Sean Newbley will tell you how he built his massive forearms, although one is much, much, much bigger than the other. Really, the best way to build forearms is to no straps. You see a lot of my training videos is no wraps, no straps, no belts, no bands, nothing. Just training raw. Lots of grip work, lots of heavy, picking up heavy things, heavy barbells, heavy dumbbells, heavy kettlebells, elastic bands, sandbags, lots of chins, lots of pulls, lots of presses, lots of dips, lots of pushes. Just that's the best way. Can you do 20? Can you do 20 dead hang chin-ups? Guarantee your grip strength is through the roof once you can do that. Guys and gals, I appreciate you all being here. Give us a thumbs up if you are so inclined. I do appreciate that. Your thumbs up will help us grow the channel, and I do appreciate that. You are the ones who can help us grow. Art, when Jones got busted for supposedly using sex enhancement pill he got from his teammate had to give the receipt matching the bottle that was tainted. I don't know anything about that. Would be interesting to hear what happened. Mike DeLuca, 4 pounds down on 3 weeks to shredded the first week. Boom! Michael DeLuca has already dropped 4 pounds in the first week of 3 weeks to shredded. The most successful healthy weight loss program ever devised is proven by the world's greatest athletes with a 100% success ratio. Nobody else can say that. We can say that. And you can follow that at thedolcediet.com. Follow our 3 weeks to shredded program. It is online, it is personalized, and it is on your mobile phone, it's on your tablet, it's on your laptop. The most successful, healthy, rapid weight loss program ever devised is 3 weeks to shredded. And again, that is at thedolcediet.com. Use my promo code DolceTube, like YouTube, but DolceTube, and you will save 10% because why not? No picograms needed, guys and gals. Just try that 3 weeks to shredded. Travis Navarro, hey coach, I've been doing the 100 rep like you suggested, doing steel mace one day, next doing 50 squats, 50 lunges. Thanks in advance. Heck yeah, Travis, keep it up, keep me posted. Art Gorelli, the receipt for the tainted bottle Joan used had clomiphene purchase on it as well as the enhancement pills. Common sense, right? I don't believe any of that. What do you think about this MMA Coaching Association? Would you recommend it for becoming MMA? Absolutely not. I'm actually going to do a video on that. That was fraudulent. As it appears right now, I've reached out to members of the MMA Coaching Association. They actually used me to promote it. I've never been affiliated with the MMA Coaching Association. I've never even heard of it. And they have me listed as being successful because I went through their program, which I never have. I might even sue those motherfuckers. I've reached out to them. So if you see that, just know that it's bullshit. I have no association with them. I have no association with any certifying body other than the Dolce Diet. The Dolce Diet certification. I've held no other MMA related certification from any fraudulent bullshit body. And I've reached out to a few, and a couple of the guys I actually know behind the scenes, and I'm waiting for them to get back in touch with me. But it's all bullshit. I have no affiliation with them. Fuck them. Fuck them. Shreyas, the least they can do is ban the athlete to the long-term metabolites. Oh man, it just scrolled by. Yep. Still popping up. If that M3 metabolite is going to be there for 7 years, ban him for 7. I wouldn't disagree. If Anthony Smith had the same issues Jones had, he'd be banned from the UFC. Absolutely, he would. Pistol Pete has strong words about Jon Jones. Elijah Holmes, is white rice bad for you? Not for most people. Millie, Canelo Alvarez gets away with it. Also, of course he does. Of course he does. The $10 million man. Gronis would have watched even if everyone was cheating and was 10 times worse. Dirtbag. Then John, it's not a cult of personalities, just great fighters. That's the way you look at it. Fighting is fighting. You want to watch fights? Watch the fights. You want to get all caught up in the PED stuff? Well, then fine, but don't watch the fights. Don't support it. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. Zeke, PEDs help performance, but it also helps with recovery and can extend a fighter's career. Older bodies break down. Let PED fighters fight, but can't go up in rank or fight for the title. Pistol Pete, if Jones loses tomorrow, I'm buying everyone at the bar drinks. Well, let me know what bar, and I'll let you buy me a water. Well, that doesn't cost anything. Spencer Thomas, sorry if I missed it, but the UFC keeps talking about the science test that only scientists understand. Could you explain what they are saying for non-educated people, or is that just, it's all PR run? It's all a PR run, guys and gals. The man has drugs in his system, banned prohibitive drugs in his system. They are finding a way to let him compete. That's it. They're finding a way to let him compete. If that was another athlete, if that was a middle card prelims athlete, nope, off the card. Sorry. Come back when you're clean. Come back when you're clean. Tim, I'm not good at math, but if you have 40 picograms per milliliter of blood, then the number of picograms in his whole body is higher than 40, right? That's actually a good point. Art Gorelli, talk to any drug counselor. They will always tell you Jones' pattern and his interviews in which he talks about his cocaine issues and other problems are that of an addict in denial. Okay, I'll take your word on it. Coach, how many hours before bed should you cut back your carbs? Well, that really depends on what your goals are. If you're trying to make gains, super gains, you might have carbs right before bed. If you're trying to maximize growth hormone output and get leaner, maybe you want to cut them out 3 hours beforehand. All depends on you. AAT is pulling for Smith. QB, what's up? Uncle Mike, what's up, QB? The real, I've done all kinds of testing. I'm 100% convinced he is flushing to some degree to make them think he isn't re-ingesting. Very possible. Mint Body Fitness, will you ever come to Hawaii for a seminar or workshop? I would love to learn from you. I very well may, but you can come on out stateside if you want to. And you can come, well, we're all sold out next weekend, March 8th, 9th, 10th here in Jersey, but we'll have quite a few more. Maybe we're going to do one on the West Coast. Art Corelli, NSC suspended Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. 9 months and $900,000 for failing a test for THC. That's right. For marijuana craziness. Gronis, any luck in getting in touch with Sam Calavita? No luck. I can't. I mean, the only thing I can do is knock on Sam's door, maybe go to the garage. I don't know. It's crazy. I've tried every way I could to get in touch with Coach Sam Calavita, TJ Dillashaw's strength and conditioning coach, to talk about the training and the diet and all that stuff. I've sent him DMs on Instagram. I've publicly asked him to contact me on his public Instagram photos. I've mentioned a few friends that we have in common, which I believe have gotten back to him and blanked me. So I don't know why. I'm a fan, Sam. I don't know why you're not getting in touch with me, homie. Well, that is inappropriate. Seth, I kind of reminds me that Bill Clinton didn't inhale moments, right? Mehmed, but it's a wild card, good fights, except Jones Smith. It's a great card. Hello, Maro Mia. Art, you may not believe it, but it's on record. Nevada State Athletic Commission. I believe it. School. Hey, Mike, thanks for all the great info. You're the best. Can you explain how the 3 weeks of shredded online program works? Love for Norway. Absolutely. So you go to thedolcediet.com. You click on Get Shredded. You put in your most basic information, your name, your email address. You pick a password. You put in your little bit of money. You click on Get Started. You're inside the dashboard. Once inside your personal dashboard, then you start to answer specific questions about yourself. Specific questions that help our proprietary algorithm build you your most unique personalized program to build you your very best life. We want to know how old you are, how tall you are, what you currently weigh, what job type you have. And it's all drop downs. It's all, this type of job, this many hours on your feet, what type of training you do, what the intensity of training, what's the duration of your training, what are your specific goals, what are you trying to accomplish here? Every time you answer a question, the mathematical rule engine changes. And inside that system, I believe there's 6 screens that you go through. And then you pick the type of program that you want. Are you a vegan? You can be a vegan and follow the Dolce diet. You can be a carnivore. Well, you can be an omnivore and follow the Dolce diet. You can be gluten-free and or dairy-free and or nut-free. All the way through following our programs. You go all the way through the end, and then you are giving your most unique, personalized diet and exercise program. Every single day is calibrated for you. Every single meal is listed for you. Every single ingredient is presented for you. Plus, you have a weekly grocery list. You can bring on your phone to the grocery store and get everything you need that's already pre-selected for you. It's right then and there. Every recipe is there for you. Every workout is there for you, detailed for you. Every exercise is there with video tutorials. If you don't know what inverted tricep extension is, and that's not a good one. If you don't know what a Jefferson squat is or a Zercher squat is, let's say, what is a walking lunge specific? What's a goblet squat? Click right there because it will be on your profile and you just click it. There's a quick little, like a 7 to 30-second video right there. Boom, up, that's it, done. And you continue on. Plus, you have a training journal in there. How was your workout today? Did you get any PRs? And then they'll tell you on this day, or this workout, or if it's a deadlift, it'll tell you when your personal best deadlift was last time. How about that? So oh shoot, March 3rd or February 1st, I hit a 315-pound deadlift. I got deadlifts again today. Let's see if I can beat that. That's all in there. We have a leaderboard. You can see where you fit amongst all the other users inside the system. You can segment by global. You can segment that by male. You can segment it by female. You can segment it by male, age 18 to 35 in the United States. You can really segment that down. You can segment it by total percentage of body weight lost or total pounds lost. How awesome is that? We have predictive avatars. You actually put in your personal information about your height, your weight, and all these. We have you do 4 different measurements, and each week we ask you to update those. When you update those, you can see your avatar change. It's a blue man, kind of like a hologram of your body, and you can see down to the millimeter how your body has changed week after week after week after week. It's awesome. We have a forum in there. You can go and engage with all sorts of amazing people around the world, share recipe tips and workout programs and support systems and call each other out. Be respectful, of course. Plus, we have a resource. This is all at thedolcediet.com. The question was, our 3 weeks to shredded and our living lean program, 4 and 12-week personalized programs. That's all there for you guys. There's so much. I could talk on and on. I'm kind of off topic right now. I can go on and on about it, but go to thedolcediet.com, pick the 4-week or 12-week program, and use promo code DolceTube to save 10% and get started. You can buy it right now. You can start on Monday. You can start next week. You can start whenever you want, but get it right now with promo code DolceTube and get started. If you're going to do it March 1st. Summer's coming, North America. Summer is coming, UK. Summer is coming, and it's coming faster than you think. Get 3 weeks of shredded right now. It's a 4-week program. You get a bonus week. Come April 1st, you will be living your best life. Start now. Get ahead of the curve. Don't wait till April, because then you're playing catch up, because then summer's coming quick. Acrino, it's funny with Jones. The guy knows he has Dana and the UFC by the nuts, and I hate it now. Avoid watching any more fights. It's tough to watch. I agree. Todd, how do you believe testing programs should be ran so we don't get surprises right before the pay-per-view? If you fail, you're done. If you fail, you're suspended for life. Gone. Bye. After proper due diligence and everyone gets their day in court, there should be money set aside for that. This is where a union comes into play. This is where the athletes fucked up. The athletes fucked up. I talked to Luke Thomas about this. The athletes fucked up because they don't have a unified voice. There's 550 some odd individual athletes with individual opinions and nobody speaking for them. And the organization, whether it's the UFC or whether it's Bellator or whether it's one, it doesn't matter the organization, but the athletes never got together. They never had a unified voice. They don't have anyone representing them. Therefore, they're all fighting each other. And that's the athlete's fault in many ways. Luke and I both agreed on that. Spencer, thank you for answering my question. Absolutely. Absolutely. Growing as Dolce is the last diet I ever did because it is not a diet. So you don't want to quit. You just want to maintain because you actually feel good from and actually improve. It's not a diet. It is a lifestyle, right? That is our tagline. I love it. Naeem, Hey, coach, can you get for us a hobby on the podcast? Yeah, that's actually a good one. That's a good one. I think Sam Calavita want to stay secretive. Sounded like that in the JRE podcast. Well, he can have a conversation and just keep, talk in general. And maybe he doesn't even talk about that stuff. But I like to get Sam on the show and let's talk about just general body weight. Let's not talk about specific athletes. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. There's something. Then there's something to hide. Right? I'm a 2-time guest on the Joe Rogan podcast, and some things I didn't share. Now I'll share everything because I don't really care about working with high level athletes anymore and people biting my stuff. That's the truth of it. So now I'm happy to talk about anything, whatever anybody wants to know. I'm happy to tell, and I do here with you guys all the time. I'll tell everybody anything. Thoughts on power cleans? Very dangerous. Not most people shouldn't be doing those. Genki, it's going good. How are you? Paul, best workout split to lose body fat on a calorie deficit. I would say I'm still good with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday full body, or the push pull legs is always a good one. Then you're in the gym 6 days a week. You want to be getting that list. I'd say 5 to 7 days of lists. Maybe 4 days of lists and 2 days of hit, and then one just like a hike. Art, was that today Colby Covington filmed Dana playing blackjack? Laugh my butt off. Gonna text Dana and mess with him. I don't know when that seemed like it was in the last 24 hours or so. Colby's a madman. It's summer in France too. Heck yeah, Tricky. It's summer. Summer's coming. Summer is coming. 3 weeks of shredding will get you right. Don't wait. What do you think about the Ali Act? Millie asked. Will that help? I don't know the specifics of the Ali Act as I'm sitting here. I believe it will help to a degree, but I don't know the specifics. Unfortunately, I can't speak on it. With your 3 weeks of shredded program, will your 3 weeks of shredded program work for a 54-year-old pencil neck who looks like a geek? Absolutely. That's what it's for. It is to make you look like an athlete and feel like an athlete and perform like an athlete without having to compete as an athlete. That's the whole point of it. Every human should be an athlete. Every human is an athlete. It's unfortunate. I want to say it's disgraceful. That's not fair. It's unfortunate if a human is walking this planet and they do not feel like an athlete. It's unfortunate. And that can be improved. And that's all I want. You don't have to go and fight in the octagon. You don't have to play in the NBA. You don't even have to go and play soccer in your backyard, but you should be able to. That's the biggest difference here. I once had this big, fat, morbidly obese sloth of a person who just completely disregarded his family and just gulged in alcohol and cigarettes. Just disgusting human. Pretending as if he was going to one day eventually be healthy. And then he stiffed me on cash, and I gave lots of good helpful information, got him rolling down the path, and he was going to bring a check, and he screwed over one of our associates, actually. And I got on the phone, I was like, hey, listen, you're going to pay. Like, I'm not going to chase you around for this money. You're either going to pay or you're not going to pay. Like, it's up to you. And he basically said that because I'm buff, I'm stupid. Because we all know the more fit you are, the more dumb you are. And I laughed. And I essentially said, it actually is very challenging to become fit. And it takes a lot of intelligence to become fit and to be fit and successful in other aspects of life. I run 3 businesses. I'm vastly, vastly more wealthy than this individual. I have an amazing family life. His family absolutely hates him. Pending divorce. Kids won't even talk to him. Just everything around him is falling apart. Drives a car that, is just nothing special. And I don't care about that stuff. Like, I don't care. He was the one making the point. So what the answer is, and what I'm trying to say to you is, you have to be well-rounded in all aspects of life. Your fitness, your finance, your family. It all has to be your best version. It all has to be at the top. You cannot be rich financially, but poor in fitness. Then you're poor. You can't be rich in fitness, but financially poor and not have lights on it at your home or be borrowing rides. Then you're poor. Your lifestyle is poor. So I hope that helps. And I'm working on a book right now that does cover this. I'm not going to get too deep into it right now. Somali, How to get strong as a 17-year-old, multi-joint compound movements. I got so many videos on my YouTube channel. Go down the rabbit hole on my YouTube channel when this video is over. Just click on my videos and start looking at anyone that says build muscle. Get strong, build muscle. I got a bunch. I got about a dozen or so videos. Just start going backwards. You'll see. What's your thoughts on TJ Dillashaw saying he's on keto? If that is the truth, then I would say that definitively is the reason he got knocked out. I would say without a doubt, that's the reason he got knocked out. There's no way a mixed martial artist can compete on keto. There's absolutely no way you can compete in combat sports which are a glycolytic activity. You cannot compete effectively as a mixed martial artist without carbohydrate. You can't do it. And I'm going to do a whole video on this that I have almost done for you guys. You can't do it. If that's the truth. And I don't know that that's true. I didn't hear TJ say that. If that's the truth, well, that's why I got knocked out on a glancing blow, mind you. TJ's tough. TJ's as tough as they come. Him going down to 125. Dom Cruz said it too. Him going down to 125 will take his chin away. That's what happens. The more you dehydrate, the more your chin disappears. Todd Welch, agree on the fighter union. The collective bargaining would give the athletes the voice and establish standards. Paying insurance would be better for the fighters. Absolutely. Canelo versus Jacobs and Joshua versus Miller. I don't have any opinion right now. I don't have any opinion at the moment. I just don't know the matchups. Dudek says Vitor Belfort signed with ONE FC. I believe ONE is a lot like Pride. They don't care what supplements a fighter takes. I say TRT is back. It's very possible. I don't know enough about ONE. I actually I'll reach out to my buddy Rich Franklin and find out. Paul McGugan, what was McGregor's favorite cheat meal? I didn't work with Conor McGregor. I like Conor a lot, actually. Conor's a good dude. People don't know. Behind the scenes, Conor McGregor's a good dude. He's a good dude. The UFC is laughing. He's got a shit nutritionist. I'll tell you that much. He's got a shit nutritionist. But Conor's a good dude. The UFC is laughing all the way to the bank because of the fighters' lack of working together for the fighter rights. Absolutely, I agree with that. I really hope they can make a union happen. I agree. Chapin Johnson, I use the Dolce method to get my son down a few pounds for wrestling tournaments. Other kids on the team are killing themselves to drop weight. We eat until the day of weigh-ins. He hasn't missed yet. Chapin Johnson, what's up, my brother? Number one, good to see you. Number two, that's exactly what we do here. There is no reason an adolescent should be cutting weight ever. That actually shouldn't start until middle high school, until they've already gone through puberty. Never should a grade school kid ever be cutting weight. So good for you, Dad. Crushing it. Paul McGugan, how do I improve my squat? You start squatting. I actually just did a video on squatting where I'm squatting on a Bosu ball. Take a look at that. And I can build you. Anyone who wants to know, we build programs here. Do you want a personalized program that's actually not on our website? You can actually, on my Instagram, send me a DM. Of course, there's a price to pay for it. We're going to charge a couple dollars for it, but we can build you a program. We can build you a program. We don't promote that because we'd be inundated with it. And it's a lot easier to say, hey, just go buy the book, go listen to the free podcasts, go to the online program, thedolcediet.com. That's very nutrition centric. But if you say, hey, man, I'm trying to hit a squat PR. I need a squat program. I just got these very specific goals. We can build that. We do that all day long. We work with a lot of strength athletes. Mahmoud says, tell us about the things behind you. Oh, well, that's nice. This right here, that's actually an oil painting that was made for me and presented to me. Well, try and move that camera, which is absolutely awesome. That's when from the stage of when Chael Sonnen weighed in versus Anderson Silva in their epic one of their epic battles. That was prior when I made the comment that Chael was 21 pounds over 24 hours before weigh-ins, and he made weight like a champ, no problem. This here, that was from my door on The Ultimate Fighter on the fight. When I was on the show, I was on season 7 of The Ultimate Fighter. I won my first fight via first round knockout, and I lost my second fight in the second round. I was choked out, rear naked choke to Jesse Taylor, who actually went on to be the finalist and should have won the show. This is one of the many articles that were done on myself and the Dolce Diet. This one was done for the UFC magazine. called Eat Like a Champ, and it was just, one of the good ones. This here is just some random photos you can see of Ronda Rousey, of Dwayne Ludwig, of Kelvin Gastelum when I helped Kelvin make 170. This is Mike Pyle, Vitor Belfort, Thiago Alves, Rampage Jackson, and Johnny Hendricks versus Carlos Condit. Just some of the many, many, many notable moments in my career. We have a lot more memorable. I mean, the entire facility, I can't turn the camera that way. The entire facility is actually filled with memorabilia. That's why I really love this studio, this space that we're in right now. I have so much memorabilia. I have boxes of it, crates of memorabilia of so many amazing events and amazing moments. And they just haven't seen the light of day. My last facility was a nice facility. And it was just very yoga studio-esque. It was very, very, we were catering to a higher price point individual. We had Range Rovers and Maseratis pulling up for private training sessions. And that was nice. This facility isn't about that. This facility, this is my man cave. That's why I bought the building, and that's why I have this studio here. I bought this and I did this just so I have my own man cave. Could you imagine? How cool is that, right? So what's Dolce been doing? This is what I've been doing. I've been building man caves for myself. And that's what this is. This is a place where I can put all of my memorabilia. I can sit down. I can chat with you. I can invite people from around the world to come on in, sit down, chat it up. I got a coffee shop next door. I just got it all. Everything I want is actually literally right here. Just a few steps away. This facility by itself is absolutely perfect. We got a nice lounge in the front. If I need to, fall asleep or whatever, I can go up there. If someone needs to crash, they can crash here, no problem. Your restroom facilities and whatnot, plus a fully functional training area. We have 2 power racks, reverse hyper, assault bikes, gymnastic rings, TRX, 12 barbells, trap bars, maces, kettlebells, steel clubs, sandbags. I mean, 2,000 pounds of weights, jump ropes, elastic bands, heavy bags, clubs, foam rollers, and plyo box, soft stackable plyo boxes. I mean, so yeah, I'm just telling you that's what we got here. That's just a little bit of what we got here. I'm probably missing a bunch of stuff, but I don't want to bore you. Just Mamad, I appreciate that. Gronus, I think Joe Rogan wanted Sam Calavita. It was a short-term fix, but it's not sustainable. Quality food, exercise, and following the Dolce diet is for life. That's right, Todd. All right, yep. I'm Nick King. Do you think your thoughts on drinking kombucha? And do you ever drink? I do drink it from time to time. But when I was in Hawaii, I was actually able to drink real kombucha. Mersad Bektik, Nick Lentz, and I were out there. And we actually had a great time at just go. Each night we go to this kombucha bar and hang out. But the commercialized processed kombucha here in the bottles, I'm not a fan. It's not the same. Rainbow, don't worry. Coach Dolce, don't worry. Santos will KO Jones this year. He looks 100 times better. That'd be interesting. Naeem, have you seen the Amir Khan 5-month to fat to fit transformation? I haven't. I'll check it out. Chapin, do you make it out to Nellis anymore? You came out with Dominic Cruz and again with Rich Franklin when I was the military guy in charge of them. Chapin, I remember my brother. No, I'm not even in Vegas right now. I'm on the East Coast for a little while. May or may not come out, but no, I haven't been out to Nellis probably in 2 years. What are you up to? What are you up to, Chapin? Ben, how much should a skinny 13-year-old be eating in order to build lean muscle tissue? As much as possible. As much as possible. At 13, I remember me at 13, I used to eat 6-egg omelets nearly every single day. I would eat everything I could get my hands on, and I was still ripped. It was so hard to get big. I'm going to shut this stream down in a couple minutes here, guys. We're already past an hour, so it's time to wind it down. Emergency. Bear Seegers. John Jones is protected by the UFC. That's why no journalist will actually investigate John Jones. They will be blacklisted. We all know Jones is a cheat and he's microdosing. It's funny. I actually do talk a little bit about that with Luke Thomas, how reporters and journalists, quote journalists, they won't ask real questions because they don't want to be blackballed by the UFC. They want to get their questions answered when they ask it of Dana, and they want to get their nice cozy cage side seat. And that's the truth. I know all the journalists, and the journalists know me, right? And there's some great journalists there. And those great journalists that I'm buddies with, that we text all the time with, I know who the less honorable of their ilk are, right? Because they know and they tell me, they tell us. So I know. Grown is so jealous of Dolce's man cave. It's cool, man. It's hard work, baby. Hard work. 30 years of hard work. 30 years of hard work in order to get here. Caleb, coach, I'm a police officer and work crazy hours with 3 weeks to shredded work. be able to benefit me even with my inconsistent, crazy schedule? Caleb, it would be the best possible thing for you. I say that because you know exactly what you're supposed to eat, exactly down to the ingredient, down to the gram, every single meal, every single day, and it's personalized to your physiological needs. It doesn't matter what time you wake up. We work with a lot of shift workers, a lot of emergency responders, a lot of military operators. We work with a lot of service industry professionals who work these crazy split shifts and overnight shifts and all this craziness. We work with long haul truck drivers who all have amazing results following 3 weeks to shredded because it is so precise. What I say is simply start the clock when you wake up for your day. Once you sleep your 7.5 to 9 hours and you wake up, that's when breakfast is. If it's 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., when you wake up to start your day, that's when you start your meal one. That makes it so easy. That's a tip right there for anyone who works shift work. So Caleb, check it out, my friend. Make sure you use that Dolce tube code and save 10%. Mehmed, how much does this facility cost you? Well, how much does the equipment cost? How much does the building cost? How much does, well, technically it doesn't cost me anything because I make sure it makes me money. So cash flow, cash is king. That's another thing. That's another thing while I'm writing this new book. Cash is king. If you can't pay cash for it, then you can't afford it. No leases, no loans, no debt, no mortgage, no financing, no nothing, no credit card, no nothing. If you can't get it for cash, then you can't get it. Simple. So it costs me nothing. It actually makes me money. Do you know Francis Ngannou? Yes, I do. Jay McGrath, hey, coach, pretty sure I pulled an upper chest muscle or something near my clavicle doing heavy barbell incline. Any advice, training, recovery? Should I completely stop my training? I would stop my training and I would go to a doctor immediately. I would get that looked at. Do not jack around, my friend. Do not jack around. You could have a rib out right now. You could have something in your spinal cord that's off. You could have a nerve impingement. You could have something that's insidious that you might blow out. I remember one time when I was powerlifting. I was crazy, man, powerlifting. I reached to turn on my car radio. And something on my shoulder went. It took me like 3 months to recover from that. Go to your doctor. And whatever. I just toughed it out. Stupid, man. Go to your doctor, get it looked at, and then go from there. Please do. Please do. What do you think about the 5x5 strong list? I'm a fan of 5x5. I like 4x5 better than 5x5, truly. The 5, that fifth set to me, and even the more advanced you are, so like a 5x5 maybe as a novice, and as you get to the beginner intermediate, then you're looking at 4x5, and the advanced athlete, 3x5. Simply because you can apply greater levels of intensity the more experienced as a lifter you are. Omar, awesome podcast, coach. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. Mehmed, in JRE, you mentioned that you quit a job for the job you have now where you were working those days. Do you like to talk about that? Yeah. Mehmed, can you be a little more specific on what I said or you want me to hear? And I'll finish with your question and I'll let me answer a couple of these ones. So Mehmed, type that in again. Specifically, what was I talking about? Because I did 2 shows with Joe. You're talking about 6 hours of conversation. Megan, any word on the online Dolce certification? We're working on that right now. Probably late summer, early fall is when we're tentatively scheduled to release that. We have all the content done, but we have to build all the software around it. So late summer, early fall, most likely. We will be doing an in-person Dolce Diet certification in, I believe, late June here again in New Jersey. We have our next one, March 8th through 10th here in New Jersey. And we're going to be doing one most likely in late June. If you want to come out for that one, come out, come hang out, drink coffee with me. Do you still work with Nick Lentz? I don't work with Nick at 155. I love Nick Lentz. He's a great guy. I love his family. I love everything he's doing. I always cheer for Nick Lentz. There ain't nothing like a Nick Lentz fight. I'll tell you that much. He's a very well-deserving athlete. Smart answers left and right and anywhere. I don't know what that means. Nicholas, how to become the best without taking performance-enhancing drugs? Slow and steady and consistency. That's how you become the best at anything. That's how you succeed in everything. Slow and steady and stay consistent. Learn from your mistakes and get better. Don't make the same mistake twice and get better. Wake up every day to get better. Do one thing better today than yesterday and get better every day. I talk about this on the Luke Thomas show. Steroids will simply get you from point A to point B in 6 months. That likely will take you 3 years to train naturally. Steroids within 3 years will likely break your body down to a point that you can't compete anymore. If you stay natural, you can continue competing. We see that a lot. Take the slower road. If you're 28, you see a 22-year-old on drugs blow past you, let them. They will crash and burn before they hit 28. Once you get to 38, you'll still be competing. You can see that through a bunch of athletes. Takes time, patience, delayed gratification. Jay McGrath, you got it. You got it. Ben Asay, what is the best way to build your chest quickly? That's actually, everyone's a little bit different. Nick Trigili, IFBB Pro, NPC, Mr. USA, he actually did a video on building your pecs. Now, when you're training for functional athletic fitness, you don't really care about building the size of your pecs. When you're a bodybuilder, then you actually care about the fullness and density and depth and completeness of your pecs. I never really cared about it. I just wanted to be strong and fast and durable. And then I was listening to one of Nick's podcasts, and he talked about building your chest. And he essentially said that it's the squeezing of the pectoral muscle that matters most in building that connection. And he would start, he's big, he's like a 300-pound in shape dude, right? Massive lean bodybuilder on drugs and whatnot that he's honest about. But still, there's lots of dudes on drugs that don't look like Nick Trigili. And he said it was the squeeze at the top to build that connection to the muscle and keeping that constant tension on the pec muscle. That's what grows the pecs. And I'm at a different point in my career now, 42 years old. I'm looking still being super strong and super fit and super durable. But I got some photo shoots and some things coming up this summer. The new 12-week, full body fitness training program that we'll be pumping out here. Let's get a little camera ready. And I tried it. And I got to tell you, I got the most dramatic effect of pec growth and shape just by listening to that video that Nick put out there. So don't take my word. I'm actually going to delegate this information to Nick Trigili's YouTube channel. Nick Trigili on YouTube. He's got a great channel. And it was, I think, like building your chest like an IFBB Pro, something like along those lines. It was probably 2 months or so ago, but go check that out. That'd be my strong recommendation. Donald Baydor, great show. I appreciate that. Thank you. Mehmed, what was that job and what aspect you did not like? How hard was that for you to quit that? I will be happy if you give me another book. Years ago, I was a municipal tax assessor working in real estate finance. I was responsible for a municipality with a $2.6 billion tax roll. I'm a math guy. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a science guy. Most people don't know because I don't talk about it too much. You don't wear mathematics on your head. But I was always honors math. I was always honors science, and it was easy for me. And it comes easy to me, which is why I'm so analytical, I believe, in what I do. And I also believe why I'm so successful in many ways in what I do, because I have that very mathematical mind. So I was working in that field, and I had my finances all right, everything right, but my gut didn't feel right. I wasn't fulfilled in what I was doing. I wanted to do something more. It wasn't just about making money. It wasn't just about having the corner office, which I did. I had a condo on the beach. I had 2 cars. I had a Ford Explorer XLT Eddie Bauer edition, and I had a Lincoln Continental as a single man in my mid-20s. Condo on the beach. That's how I was rolling. And I hated it. And I hated my day, and I hated my job simply because it was unfulfilling. I did not enjoy it. And then I received an offer. This is the early 2004, from Randy Couture's Team Quest. I was working as a part-time strength coach at that time. I was working with members of Team Renzo Gracie. I was training up in New York City with Renzo Gracie and all of his amazing athletes and team. And I was a part of that team in many ways. And I was working with a ton of athletes, ton of wrestlers, collegiate wrestlers in high school and all of that stuff, combat athletes. I really geared towards strongman, Highland Games competitors and powerlifters and whatnot, while still working as in real estate finance. And I received an offer from Randy Couture's Team Quest, and it was an offer I could not refuse. It was essentially making about 10% of my salary, my current salary, sitting in an office from 9 to 5 with pension and 401k and healthcare and all that stuff. I would quit all that. No healthcare, no 401k, no pension, no corner office, no nothing. And I would make literally 10% of what I was making to go and work, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. Well, it turned out that I was working about 12 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week, not including travel for fights. And I loved it. So my initial day job was making $8 an hour, 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Team Quest as the gym janitor. I opened the gym at 5 a.m. I had the gym ready by 9 a.m. for the first class. I had it clean and all set, ready to go. And at 9 a.m., I would start coaching the world's greatest athletes for free as the head strength coach of Team Quest North, Portland, Oregon. This is when Randy Couture was there and Dan Henderson was there and Matt Lindland was there and Evan Tanner was there still at this point. Nate Quarry and Chael Sonnen and Ed Herman and Chris Lieben were just babies. The Ultimate Fighter 1 hadn't even come out yet. And I threw it all away. My whole life and career of finance in New Jersey, I threw that all away to do what I was passionate about. And that was working with athletes at a high level. And I had the opportunity, thanks to Randy and Robert Follis, who offered me this opportunity, and Matt Lindland, who was owners in the facility, and Dan Henderson, owners in the facility. A lot of people don't know that's where my roots go back to. My roots go in MMA or in the late 90s, working with Team Renzo Gracie. Early 2000s, Team Quest North, the number one team on the planet. We could argue, and I do argue with Mr. Pat Miletich every so often, about which team was better in that time. But Team Quest was the team because we had all the belts. We dominated. And I was a head strength coach of that team. And I was making $32 a day before taxes, 5 days a week. And I was working for free. And I did that for almost 2 years. And then I saw the lay of the land and I moved into and I took over as the general manager of the facility. And I doubled the profits of the facility because I have a business background and a math background. And I'm analytical. I understand finance. And I took their facility and I took their gym, their business model, their online shopping cart, their online store, and I completely revamped it. And I walked away with that gym more profitable than it had ever been when I moved on to the next phase of my life. Go. Let me answer. Then I'm out of here. Where are the great Italian fighters? Ooh, they are lovers, right? They're having fun, I'm sure. Well, what do you think about Indian spicy food? I'm not really a fan of any spicy food, but I do like the ethnically original foods. So if it's true Indian food made from a true Indian family, I am all in. True Italian food and a true Italian family, I am all in. I'm all in on that. But I'm just not a fan of spicy, no matter what. I don't really like the spicy. It doesn't go well with my stomach. Chapin, I've been retired from the Air Force for about a year. Coach middle school and high school wrestling and some strength and conditioning, and need to come get Dolce certified. Brother, come on out. This one is booked up, unfortunately. I'd love to have you out in March, but after that one, we're looking at June in New Jersey, man. Come on out. It'll be beautiful by that time. Megan, thanks, Coach. I'm in upstate New York. Hope to see you in June. Megan, that would be awesome. Get down here. Get down here, especially the one in June. Oh my goodness, come to the shore. We're literally right on the beach. Right on the beach. It's like a 3-block walk from our facility to be standing on the beach. Get down here. Sai Salone, thoughts on natural herbs like maca root, saw palmetto, ashwagandha, etc., and what they really can or cannot do. I think they are excellent. I think they are a great part of a well-rounded nutrition plan and lifestyle. Lucas, what's your favorite fermented food? Kimchi. Bisade, yo Dolce, I follow you a long time and I have your cookbook and I love it, but I am Dutch. Can you make a Dutch translation? I cannot make a Dutch translation. Can you make a Dutch translation? That would be the question. I would love to. We just don't have the ability, and I don't know how big the Dutch market is for such a translation. But you never know. Maybe we will. What do you think, Chris Lieben? Great guy. Chris Lieben's an awesome guy. Really took me under his wing when I first got there. Great guy. Sweet soul. My man, before saying goodbye, just tell me another book for this week. See you next week. What's another book for this week? What's a good book? You know what a good book? You know what's a good book that I enjoy? And this is completely nothing to do with health, fitness, finance, or anything. It's Interview with a Vampire. Anne Rice, Interview with a Vampire. Oh, it's a great book. You feel like you are in the book. The way Anne Rice writes, and I've read every Anne Rice book. I read the entire The Vampire Chronicles, and then she moves on to the whole witches thing. I read I forget how many books there are in total in that entire series. There's a lot more than you realize in that whole Interview with a Vampire series, The Vampire Chronicles. Read The Vampire Chronicles, if you will. Start at book 1 and read all the way through. What a beautiful journey that is. That would be, if you're into it. I just love it because I really enjoyed it because you are taken away into her world. And that's a beautiful thing. Advice for big triceps. Go watch my YouTube video today. My most recent one. And I teach you exactly how to build big triceps. Guys and gals, thank you all for being here. This was a long one today. I appreciate you guys. Remember, live Q&A every Friday at 1 p.m. We come on, we go live. I went long today for you guys, and that's a good thing. Leave comments below. Leave a thumbs up. to this video. If you've watched this video, leave a thumbs up on this video. That helps the channel to grow. And it lets me know that you actually care. And I do appreciate that. And we'll be back. Remember, the Mike Dolce Show podcast. Go and listen. Luke Thomas. We have a 2-hour discussion about steroids, PEDs, and the problems with the current system inside the world of mixed martial arts. The Mike Dolce Show podcast on iTunes. Subscribe to that. And until next time, boom.